So now that we mostly, all of us, have our Christmas trees up, do you look at these ornament boxes and think, oh my gosh, they are so worse for wear, I should just throw them out? Stop. Don't do that. So we're going to take some of these ornament boxes. We're going to go and find some smalls, and if you're like me, you thrift for smalls all year long. And especially when it comes to vintage Christmas decor, anything that is small. So I still have plenty of Christmas smalls that I can use to create some beautiful shadow boxes using these. And I hope that you all do too. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, my name is Yvonne and you have landed on Ginger Chick Rehab, where I love to repurpose, reuse, make over secondhand finds, so thrifted items. So in today's video, this is my last Christmas DIY. Yes, I am sad. I've had so much fun creating DIYs and crafts for you all here in the channel. Let me know down in the comments if you have tried any of them. But today's video, I wasn't planning on doing, but a friend gave me some more ornament boxes and I had plenty of littles in my stash, so here we go. So the graphics on these older boxes are just amazing, and they are worse for wear. So, I'm going to have to do some surgery on the boxes before I can start creating with them, but I was happy that Diane was willing to give me these. She is also a reseller and has a Christmas booth all year long. So for her to part with these, to give them to me, I feel definitely blessed. So yes, I said I have to start doing some surgery. So hot glue it is. We need to tighten these boxes back up. I definitely need to get those four corners nice and secure, and then we can work at other little pieces like the front that's pulling away, maybe a little bit of tape in the inside to kind of pull them together because you won't really see that part of it, and then maybe a little hot glue or on the outside where you put the tape, just a minute amount just to keep it closed so that it doesn't pull away with the tape. So I didn't say this was going to be an easy task, but I truly believe these boxes are worth the save. And now that is so more secure now. It's got some structure to it. It is not perfect by any means. It's that perfectly imperfect that we have all grown to love. Why does everything have to be perfect? I don't know. But anyway, so yes, I know that it fits on my bottom. I wanted to make sure that that was all nice and secure, that I didn't tighten it up so much that it doesn't fit on the bottom piece. But the back of it has a little bit of wear and tear that I don't really want you to see that in my design. So I'm just going to take a piece of cardstock, just some green cardstock, and I'm going to back this up. And I feel like the green matches, not a complete match, not an exact match, the green on the front of the graphics. And then the cardstock does not fit the entire back, but that's okay because I can come up with something else to cover that little area too. But I'm just going to proceed on using hot glue because that's, you can do double stick tape, you can do whatever you want, but I just have the hot glue out, so that's what I'm choosing to use. Now I'm going to start taking the pieces and parts that I know I want to put into this little shadow box. So I've got a little Santa. I think he's newer. He's a reproduction vintage. And then I have the sugared tree that I had brought back to life that was flattened. I hope y'all were able to do that this year with that hack of warm water on bottle brush trees. I think I want this. I'm not sure. It might be a little too big. It matches the graphics, but I really haven't been able to fit it into a design quite yet, but we'll see. While you're creating, you always change your mind, don't you? If I left the base on, the tree would have been a little bit too tall. It almost fit, but I don't really want to bend the tree, like have it leaning over by any means. So we're going to go ahead and take that base off, and then I'll get it just glued in. I want to make sure that when I glue my box, I can glue my box wider together so that the tree fits in there. But see how it's just an almost almost a tight fit. That's one of those little areas that you're like, okay, so I need my box to be like this far out to be able to fit that tree in. You don't necessarily have to scrunch it just like it was when it had the ornaments and be closed. You can definitely make it wider by doing this. And I'll go ahead and I will glue all 4 sides so that it will be nice and secure. Did get a little bit ahead of myself gluing the box together and putting the tree in because I forgot that I wanted to go around and fill that void that's not covered up. But, you know, why make things easy? So one of my hauls, I got this fun little garland that has some fun age to it. So I'm going to go ahead and put pieces of that like a frame around that back area. Like I said, it wasn't as easy to get the hot glue in there, so I ended up switching over to some double stick tape because the glue gun just could not get at that angle. So now I can get my Santa put in there. I'm just kind of checking out where I want them to be because I like to fill these shadow boxes as full as I possibly can. So I want to stick them in the corner, but enough that you can see them and enough that I can still stick some more decor in there. So now I kind of can envision a little disco ball or an ornament hanging from the top. So I just straightened out the hook that was on this little vintage bulb, and then I'm just going to use my Cricut weeding tool to poke a hole. This is old cardboard, so the hole pokes really easily, and then I'll just kind of like guide that wire in up through the hole, and then I'll twist that wire so that it doesn't just pull right back through, and then I'll put a little dab of hot glue to secure it in place, and then we have a little hanging bulb. Now, not everything that I'm working with here today is vintage or old or secondhand finds. Like this little piece was in the ornament section at Hobby Lobby, but it was vintage inspired and it's so super cute. So, and it kind of matches the sugary tree that's in there. I call them sugared. I'm not sure what their real terminology is, but I'm going to go ahead and get that glued in there. And now Santa's going to be bringing some toys. Though this is a metal little car, the green I thought went really well. And then I have some of this greenery that has some fakey little packages on it. So I'm just going to go ahead and pull those packages and glue them in. So Chris and I, my husband and I, do a lot of auctions. And at a recent auction, I was able to get my hands on a little decorated tree that had a whole bunch of bendy knee pixie elves on it. And then it had some other ornaments like these little vintage children. And I thought they would be so sweet to put around the Christmas tree with Santa and the toys and just be able to put more vintage in here. And the little child has enough of the gold to match the gold's packages, though I need to put a block to rise them up. I'm not sure if it's a girl or a boy, honestly. So I'm going to just do one of these older little blocks and glue it to the bottom so that I can lift the little child up. Then these were made to be ornaments. It had some weird little green, almost, I don't even know what it was. It looked like a leaf on the top of the head. So I'm going to go ahead and pull the hanging system out the top of the head because it looked a little bit funny. So I do have another one that I'm going to add in. So it's just not one child getting all these presents. There's two. So it's crazy to think that this is a Woolworths box, even though I never went into a Woolworths myself. I don't know if they're still even around anymore, or they're a thing of the past. But I know a lot of the big box stores like that around my parts are no longer. Even a J.C. Penney's, we don't even have any of those local anymore. It's crazy to think that. So I love that we can give these new life and let them live on. And I really don't mind doing a little bit of surgery to fix them back up to make sure they're nice and secure. This one's actually not too bad, though. The front from the sides is pulled off. You know, there's a rip right here, but a little bit of tape will hold that and the inside together. You know, they don't have to be perfect. You just have to look beyond that. And as I said earlier, you don't have to have, it doesn't have to be all age appropriate. It doesn't have to be, I've got a whole bunch of vintage and I'm putting it into these boxes, because a lot of vintage is resellable. So sometimes you want the little bit worse for wear to stick into these boxes. Or like this newer little Santa that came in one of my hauls, though he's got some the berries always seem to disintegrate or get broken in these little arrangements. So I'll just pop the broken ones off. I believe he should be holding the bells and the strings, so I think that came unhot glued because it's just kind of hanging from his the collar around his sleeve there. So we'll go ahead and get that glued back in place too. Santa's going to take up a large portion of this, and I think that background is in great shape. I'm not going to do too much of it with it. I'm going to keep it at that vintage vibe, but I have a couple different tree options. I'm trying to figure out which one I like the best. Y'all, I have way too many bottle brush trees, but I like having options when I go to grade. Now for this one, I'm going to leave the base on. I really need something to glue down there, and the bottom of this tree is a little bit on the chunky side, so I need a little bit of height to get it up into that opening. And then if I glue Santa in the way that he is, his bag kind of pushes him out, and then you can't really see the bag all that well. So I was trying to see if I could pull the glue apart, but that wasn't happening, so I had to make the decision to cut it apart so that I could glue his little sack with all his toys and goodies on the outside so you could see it. But before I glue him in, I was just trying to look for something that I had in my stash that wasn't going to take away from the tree or take away from Santa, that had a little bit of age. And I have this metal tree topper that I played with quite a few times, and I think just something so simple as that. I'm not going to make it shiny, I'm not going to embellish it. Sometimes you just leave it as is. Oh, I am so totally loving this, though I want to add a little bit of something to his bag because all those other little beads and stuff were damaged, so I removed those. So I'm just going to take this thrifted piece of greenery and I'm going to go ahead and add some. I needed that pop of red in that bag. And then I was wondering if I could distract from where that rip was, and then where there was like, it looks like a garage sale tag, you know, it has like the 75 yellow on it, so they must have been 75 cents. I don't know. But I'm going to go ahead, and I have some of these candy canes that I had picked up that are just pipe cleaners, and I'm not going to leave them necessarily as the pipe cleaner, as I'm going to make a solid type of wreath just to cover up that area. It's funny how when you're working on a project how like, oh, well, that's bothering me now, but now I need to go back and work on the sack a little bit more because I would like to add some more gold in there. Now, the bag itself had like a plasticky little French horn type of thing in there. And then I remembered in my stash that I had some other little instruments that were metal. And I'm like, I'm going to go ahead and add a few of those onto the bag because it'll then match the bell that Santa is hanging from his hand. I think that'll all work together. And that pipe cleaner candy cane's working so well, it matches this so well, that I'm going to attempt to make some tiny candy canes and have them hanging out of the bag. Oh, the graphics on this one is going to make it worth saving. Is that not too super sweet? Oh my gosh, I just love it. And I wondered, like, so were these packaging white when they first came out and then they yellowed over time, or were they cream to begin with? Give me a comment down below if you know. So I never really considered myself a surgeon before. I'm definitely a fix-it person. So, but I feel like that is what I am doing when I'm trying to figure out where all the pieces and parts, where they go back together. But I am happy that it was never thrown out, that somebody saw beyond it just being trash, that I could at least salvage it as much as I possibly can. So I would love, yet again, in the comments to know, would you have taken the time to do this? I mean, we're not even able to create yet because we have to fix what we're creating with first. But like I said, it does not bother me in the least. I just would love to hear how many of you were like, nope, not going to waste my time. I would have just thrown it out. Or yes, I totally would have saved this. Then of course I've got to make sure that I didn't over fix it, that it's so tight that it doesn't fit back onto the bottom, but I think we are good. So look at this fun tinsel. Oh my gosh. So I'm going to go ahead and glue some of this onto the back of it. Though this one in the inside is really in good shape too. I just really loved this tinsel and I really wanted to use it on a project. I don't know, there's just something fun about that tinsel garland that just giving this a nice little vibe. So I have a couple different trees that I'm going to use on this one. I love the fun little unique shapes, kind of have that retro kind of vibe going on. So I'm going to go ahead and get their bases taken off because I don't need them. They're a little too tall if I leave them on for the box. Now that I know how wide I need to glue my box together with by putting the tree in there, I can get the outer of this, the front and the back, the top and the bottom, glued together. So now I have a Santa. Of course I do. I cannot pass them up. Oh, and he has a little broken foot. I love that they are not perfect by any means. It doesn't make me feel bad when I'm gluing them into a little arrangement like that. Though I've got a little bit of space behind there that I think I want to add something to, yeah. So these were new purchase goods. I think these were Michael's though. So they matched that bottle brush tree on the side, though I'm going to go ahead and take off the ornament hanger it's got going on. Apparently it's hot glued on, so I can't just pull it, but that's okay. I'm going to glue this onto the back. The fun with these boxes is letting your imagination run wild. I just feel like if you can overstuff them, it's even better. And so I actually changed my mind on my Santa only because that Santa was a little too white. His beard was a little too white. And this one goes with the cream a little bit better. But I have a whole bunch of yellow vintage bulbs that match the gold on his belt buckle that I'm going to go ahead and add in there. And the little wreath that I glued on the back also has that gold in there. So that's where I'm tying this all in together. So I feel like my trees need some type of ornament, though I don't have a ton of small bulbs, but I do have these that I will always pick these up if I see them. They like went on the out, like your string of lights on your trees, or your string of lights in general, and they're, oh my gosh, I love that they have all these fun colors. So I'm just going to kind of coordinate the colors to match Santa and then to match the goldy yellowy bulbs. If I didn't think I could get anything else in here, I'm going to go ahead and hang a couple bulbs. I really liked that little trick there, and I mean, you really don't notice that piece of metal too much from the top, but I love the little dangling ornament bulbs from the little ceiling area, and I think I can fit 2 different sizes in here. And then now I'm going to go in and I'm going to take some more of those little light covers and just the clear. And those are really nice and helpful because where I glued the 2 bulbs together, it really hides that hot glue. Now another area I'd like to hide is where this probably like maybe a price tag or something was on there and it ripped off some of the front paper. So I'm just going to use some more of those light covers. I think that will be enough. It will coordinate with what's inside the box along with bring what was inside outside and cover this up. And then one little mini bulb just to cover up where the electrical stems, I guess I call them, on the light covers were. My heart was so happy when I ran across this little ornament box. Oh, look at the graphics on though I decided that I'm like, okay, I think this is really loose that I can just pull that price tag off, and oh, bless bless that it did not take off any of the graphics. 27 cents, and I got a bonus bulb inside of it. I didn't even know that was there. And then other than cleaning it up, dusting it a little bit, taking that front, what's left of the front plastic off, the box is in great shape. So I have this little deer that I thought would be cute, but that would be kind of reproducing what I had done similar to a little box in my last video. And I wasn't really keen on, I think it's Bambi maybe's eyes, but we'll see. I might, as I'm creating, I might change my mind, but I'm not going to change my mind on adding some bottle brush trees to the back of this. I just love, one, that they fit. They're like the perfect size. And we can still close the box, and that makes my heart happy, but still not sold on Bambi with those eyes. Now, I picked these trees up at auction. She was an artist, so she had a lot of already left in the package still of these. She created these beautiful folk art Santas, but I think I can get 4 of these to fit, though I'm trying to like dust off some of the flocking on it. But I think all four of these will fit on the back of that, to my surprise. Okay, sorry Bambi, you're out. And maybe one of these Santa Clauses will be in, though I think that one's a little big. And I think the Tim Holtz one is like a perfect size. I'm not worried about the color. I like the color. I can tone it down. But I think I do like some of these glass beads along with it. Now to tone Santa down so he's not so in-your-face cream, I'm just using some of the Fusion's antiquing glaze, just kind of dry brushing it on and letting it get into the details, and you'll really see his details once I get on it, and then you just let it dry. Now, not that that spot is really that ruined, I just thought it could use a little bit more. You see some discoloration, and I have one little greenery wreath left, though Santa made this one a little front heavy, so you kind of have to lay it down or tip it back on something, but I think it's super cute. So when Diane gave me these boxes, I noticed the shiny bright box right off the bat and was super excited. And then I was like, oh, it's got 2 windows. Am I up for the challenge? Well, let's see. This one just needs a little bit of surgery, though I'm trying to test out, okay, how do I make a shelf? How am I going to make a shelf in this box? And is this cardboard strong enough that I could make a shelf and treat these as 2 separate windows? Maybe if I double it up or triple it up or put as many of the cardboard pieces together that I can, maybe it'll work. I'll be darned, I think I created a shelf, but now I need to cover up because that doesn't really look so pretty. So I'm just going to use some black copier paper. I used this earlier in the season of making paper stars, so I already had it in my shop, and I think black will be a nice back color, though I have to cut a lot of pieces and parts up to fill up all the space. Really just made a lot of cuts to cover up all the sides, the back, the top, the whole inside of that box. So now to cover up where the seams are, I'm just going to use some of this tinsel garland, just hot glue it on. So this is like doing two boxes at the same time. You can coordinate them or you can make them a little bit different. I guess it really didn't matter. I'm probably going to probably coordinate because that's just the type of person I am. But none of my bottle brush trees that I wanted to use really fit that space. They were either way too short or way too tall. So these are just the Dollar Tree ones. I like that they have the little colored beads on them. Though I'm going to have to actually cut some of the bottle brush down. I thought about like bending it over a little bit and, you know, kind of have like a Dr. Seuss theme, but I didn't necessarily love that. So here's why I didn't want the Dr. Seuss theme, because I had some pixies. Yes, these pixies have a little bit of damage to them, so they're perfect to use. We got a faded one. He's a little ripped up here and there. This one, somebody had hot glued his little bum already, so it's not going to bother him to have it hot glued again. But I love the thought of these little pixies in both of these windows. So they're still pixies, but they're a little bit different. So not a complete match. And then I have a lot of vintage bulbs that I keep picking up. Of course, I'm searching for shiny bright ones, but it's nice that when I find a shiny bright one, that they have these other vintage ones that I don't mind gluing in there. So we're just going to start building up with just some glass bulbs. Like I said, these aren't shiny brights, they're just vintage glass bulbs, and I'm just kind of like gonna throw a lot of color in here. The box I know is just green and tan, but I just really want to have a lot of color going inside these little windows. And would you look at this jar of yummies? Yeah, a lot of my ornaments and stuff, and like these, I picked up for like less than $10, less than $5, usually $1 or so at an antique mall. So either they didn't want to price them separately or they wanted to make money. Either way, I was happy to run across all of them because this is what I was using to create this year. And I loved, for me who started off my channel as a black and white girl, look at all the color I am using. And then of course I can put those little light covers in there, and that'll cover where the hot glue seeps out. It'll just add more color to this. And with the black being such a dark background, I'm really going to add a lot of bulbs on this one. Some of these are a little bit worse for wear. Some of the paint has more off of them. So they're perfect, but I just want to lighten up that background. I feel like I've filled up the box enough. Now I can add my pixies in so I can work around that. Oh, I just love that. I love that I was able to create a shelf and make 2 little windows. I don't know if you noticed on that pixie, he had one of these bells on his little back of his hat. So I remembered that I had some greenery that had some of these bells in, and I have a little bit more space on that back. Like I said, I love filling these up as full as I can. Like retro, vintage, tacky, whichever way you want to look at it, they are just cute as a button and fun to create, especially like I don't even think you'd have to this could be out all year long. If you are a collector of little pixie elves or ornaments or shiny brights, you don't just necessarily bring them out for the season. I can't believe how many Instagram posts I have seen where people just have rooms full of pixies or shiny brights. Oh my goodness, you got to check that out sometime. I do believe that people buy Christmas year-round. I have been told that numerous times, that when people find it, they buy it. So I don't know where Santa's body is, or if he was just always just head and his pipe is as funny as could be. But I want to add him somehow into the front of this. But I wasn't really loving him. I didn't want him covering up the pixies. I kind of wanted him to hang out in the middle. So not to just glue one thing on the front, I'm going to take some of this tinsel and I'm going to just do that in the corner and then glue Santa's head. I don't know why it's just Santa's head, in the middle area. And my one final step on this is that tinsel is so shiny and so new looking that I'm just going to take some of the Fusion's aging wax and just dry brush it on. Once it dries, it should be on there just to tone that down, and it seems to be working. I kind of did that on some shiny bright trees that I made earlier with some of the, what were those? Pipe cleaners, yes, with the pipe cleaners to calm that down, and I think it'll work on the tinsel too. So thank you so much for watching today's video. Yes, I absolutely loved Christmas this year. There was just something about creating and running across items that I just could envision repurposing and making over and sharing the process with you all. I just had so much fun. I had no plans to go this far, right? Basically almost up until Christmas this year. Craziness. But I hope that I have inspired you. I hope that you've made some. I hope that you're keeping on making some, because I know I am going to be looking for ornament boxes. I'm going to be still looking for Christmas smalls all year long, just like I have before. So again, thank you so much for watching today's video. Merry Christmas to each and every one of you. I know our times are getting very busy as we get closer to the day. So thanks again. We will see you next time, and you can see what we're up to. Bye.